YouTube has changed something. Go figure. What's going on, YouTube? Give me a second here to readjust because YouTube has changed the way you go live a little bit, it looks like. All right. We'll see if anybody checks in here. What is going on, YouTube? We're going to talk a Silver Saturday from the live side. I don't think we've ever done this. Now, think about it. We'll talk about planning. We'll see, give people a minute to roll in here. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Hope everybody out on the east side is staying warm. Sounds like it's a little. Let's see if we can miss. That does not want to look right. Sounds like everybody on the east side is a little chilly out there. uh, Everywhere, I guess, pretty much east of Texas. But yeah, so Silver Saturday. What's going on around here other than doing the things? Taking inventory, doing the inventory of the things this weekend, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about the planning. I talked about this year how we hit um, our goal for the our big goal, and then hitting our annual goal. And so I gotta make a plan to move forward, right? Making a plan's where it's at. Hey, what's up, Vegas Stacker? How you doing? I guess we're in the same time zone. I know you're not freezing. I mean, I guess it could be a little chilly down there for you guys, but it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing cold. But it's all relative, right? um, so talking about the plan, I'm just going to go through some of my Morgans here after I got my inventory and our silver dollars, peace dollars. Um, the I figured out I've got 79 silver dollars, which I thought was pretty good considering I just kind of pick them up as I go through. And Vegas Stackers, it was funny when you posted that today because I was like, I was going to talk about my Morgan dollars today. uh, Vegas did a things on things not to do, kind of in jest. It was kind of funny and all good fun, a little comedy. But yeah, kind of like my silver dollars and talking about the plan, the silver plan, right? Um, that opened I opened the peace dollars first. Uh, the plan has always been uh, with the dollars to get years and mints, as many of the different ones as I can, just off of what they have in the case at any given time. Nothing, not too many special orders. Let me see. But it's worked out pretty well, just grabbing them and going. And with my silver dollars, they don't go in my official count. So I don't count them as part of my stack, if you will. They're kind of a hoard behind the scenes. Um, so they're kind of like, what would you call it? The reserve, the reserve stack, right? Um, so the silver dollars are in the reserve as part of the plan, and it worked out pretty well when I realized with I got $79. That's basically it was if I did the math right, which I may not have done. It says 67 ounces. That's 67 additional ounces just from putting dollars away and not messing with them any other way. Um, I've put a few in collector books, but most of them I have here in these rolls. I talked about the peace dollar years ago, like oh, 10, not 10, probably 6 or 7 years ago. We talked about the. I really like the peace dollar just as a symbolism and what it stood for, and when it came around. It's just the back, the eagle on the back has just never. It just wasn't quite enough. It's just not quite detailed and strong enough to really make it um, one of my favorite coins, I guess you'd say. I always liked the message of peace. It came out after World War I, all that old history behind it. I really liked that. part of the story, but just the back eagle just doesn't pop enough. Was the only way I could phrase it. It's like, oh man, it's just so close to being awesome, but I do like them. Uh, but there's only obviously a limited number of years on it. Um, so that's this one tube. You see here it's mostly 25s and lower. It's hard to find 35s. Here's a 20. Is that a 28 or 23? Looks like a 23. But yeah, so the plan has always been to keep these guys out of the main stack and just kind of put them in containers and look at them later. A little tarnish there on that one. Kind of looks, but that's worked out pretty well just as a technique. But planning for the future, right? It's enough peace dollars for here. Planning for the future. Looking to what I'm going to do now that we're kind of over our goal. We got a good little cache of what I'm kind of treating as, I guess, bank money is what I'm treating my some of the things I'm starting to stack now. I kind of surprised myself how I held with my split, because I originally split 50% government bullion, 25% generic, 10% constitutional, 90%, and was that leave like 15% numismatic, semi-numismatic, your koalas, pandas, stuff like that. I put down as 15%. And when I went through my inventory, and I kind of track it through the year just by counting, I was off of my ounce count when I got to the end the other day, and I 1885 there, but I'd kept my percentages pretty spot on. I was over on I had more ounces than I thought I had, which was a pleasant surprise, only by like 4, which is always good. It's always good to have a little bit in hide there, and but it was good to have that. And but that my splits with with the semi-numismatic, the generics, government bullion, etc., were all split the way I wanted them, like that, half government bullion and whatnot. Had maintained pretty much spot on the division, so I was happy with that. And but what that means moving forward. So moving forward, I've talked about how, I talked last year about how I really wanted to get into a little more gold. Oh, has everybody seen the gold price lately? Man, painful. Painful. But I think just dollar amount to dollar amount, I'm going to go that route because of space. I'm looking at the number of containers I have of silver that if I wanted to move out with, and the number of people, if I have one per person, like we're at the limit kind of with 4 or 5 people. If everybody had one, like, you want to move quickly. If you had to get it out, like we're kind of at that limit. And like, yeah, might have to go with some gold. It'll be saving the same dollar amount. Just it's a little slick there. Just in gold. We'll still do the silver, so I'm still looking at doing the split with whatever I get. Government bullion at 50% of what I get and whatnot. But I'm not changing that, but I am switching to gold, and it'll probably be government bullion on that side. So it'll represent that money. That money amount that goes into that will be represented there. This is pretty nice 1887 for coming out of the bin, just the normal under the counter bin. Not pretty nice looking coin. We got some people in here. Let's check out and see who's dropped in. Vegas Stackers here. MQ Walter Davis. What's up, Walter? Hello, how are you? I got a few randos. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard to all the randos. The Saint, what's up, Saint? This is right up your alley. You're into the shiny stuff. 1898, in pretty good shape. I don't know if anybody's asked. I didn't see anybody ask, but I don't have any Carson Cities, so you'd think I would have a Carson City or something, but man, the prices on a Carson City Morgan are just crazy. I've never gotten one. I remember years ago they used to have them in a bowl in the main big coin shop, Northern Nevada Coin. They used to have them in a bowl, like so it'd be like coins like this that were Carson Cities, and they'd be like $100. And I was always like, "Ooh." I mean, that's when you were getting these for like $19, right? And the Carson City minted ones were 100. And it's like I just couldn't justify going to get them. And I look at it now, it's like they're gone. They don't have them anymore. They don't have that. They haven't had that bowl out since before 2020. And I was like, I should have got one or two or something. Like just dug through there, and even if they were relatively slick, gotten one. But I just couldn't break myself down to spend $100 for a slick coin like this. All beat up and dirty, basically. Definitely worn and circulated. But they had the CC mint mark, so they were high dollar. you know. Um, but yeah, the plan moving forward. I was looking at that, and definitely, I'm going to try to go in the direction I intended to as originally planned. With focusing a little bit on. I didn't know if I caught this one. This one right here. Somebody had it in a locket or something. They'd pulled it out of either a belt buckle or a necklace or something. That's where they pulled it out. But definitely still try to stay on top, focus, and do the things. But definitely with prices, my biggest concern. So I was looking at when I'm setting my goals here. Looking at what was I saying? Oh, trying to set a price target for how much I spend on per ounce. So, like for American Silver Eagles, I was trying to set it $35. So I'm gonna try to. And the thing is, I'm worried about how quickly it's going to go away. So I had, 35. If I can get Eagles front of 35, I'm gonna pull the trigger. Other government bullion, I'm looking at 33. 1901. Generic, either 10-ounce bars or other generic. Trying to get that for 32. So with the prices the way they're going, I'm like, I want to try to keep it under, so I keep my dollar cost low as relative to. It's a nice 86. Trying to keep my goal low there for trying to plan out the ounces, so if I get a good sale, I'll be able to pick up stuff hopefully under the target price. So at least I have a target price. I'm thinking that's going to be kind of important with the way the prices are fluctuating now. It's a nice 79. Little scar under the eye there. But it's hard to focus on all the shiny. But really, I think it's important to have the goals with the price targets, so I know what I'm allocating per month, basically, and what it's going to take to kind of hit those goals. So that's just something I was thinking that I'm doing. If you want to look at planning, because we know these prices, the way they've moved the last year, this has left everybody in a little flustered. It's hard to manage, especially when you're on some of our low income budgets, like most of us are. Most of us aren't high rollers, right? um, but having those price targets helps. Um, Walter, you had to sell some about a year ago, yeah. Yeah, you got to fix all that broken equipment, Walter. It's a rough go. It's a pretty slick 1900. Um, yeah, it's always something, right? I'm trying to work through my plan. It's like at some point, maybe needing some to move in. Ideally, I've always talked about moving into land, right? Purchasing some land with in the end, but I don't know if they're going to move conversely or against each other. Hopefully, land comes down as this is going up would be ideal, um, and get a good conversion rate to move over uh, as prices fluctuate. But who knows what will come? If we'd all been in Bitcoin, we wouldn't have to worry about this, right? Oh, and if you're in Trump coin, I mean, all you rich folks in Trump coin now, everybody hear about that? Trump put out his own little meme coin, and it's already like 3 billion in cash, or I guess 3 billion in valuation, I guess, overnight. And just laugh like, when's the rug get pulled on that? Kind of crazy. People just throwing money all over the place. It's like if you're instead of why don't you buy some property? Why are people focusing on with all this crypto stuff and everything on the computer? It's like, yeah, you can go out and get you some chickens for cheap compared, the price of eggs the way they are, you think people are just desperate to have some type of return, to get some type of cash, advantage to where they get ahead, I guess you'd say, to where they get something for less than they put into it type thing. But it's the way it is. People aren't into hard assets anymore. We all lament, the days of guns and butter, I guess, are over. But we're still here. We got some stackers on here. We'll still be around. We don't get tracked down by the police. But that's kind of my plan for this coming year. Still keeping my split between bullion and generic, setting some price targets to try to keep my price total as low as I can, considering what price levels are now per ounce, and moving forward and doing the things, and continue to stack. This was a good one, a 1904, a little slick, but considering it's a '04, these are a little harder to find out in the wild, just in the case at the place, at the LCS or whatever, wherever you end up getting it, is it Philadelphia, I believe. Mojave, how you doing? Trump scammed crypto, right? He scammed a lot of people. The ability for people to throw money at Trump who doesn't really need it just baffles me on a daily basis. I was talking to somebody about that. I think I was talking to Dad on YouTube about that. Like, Trump is the master of separating people from their money. When it's not like he's broke or in need. Definitely the king, I guess you'd say, of that. So 78. It's a nice 78 considering all things considered. Pretty big gouge right there at the eye, but relatively clean. 01. There's a 03. Pretty nice. Walter's cousin's going to be the one that puts Walter in retirement. Bought Bitcoin at 100, huh? Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see the transition. How is this going to play into the digital central bank currency that's coming? Are they going to outlaw it? Are they going to tie it to it? Are they going to undervalue it, overvalue it? We all know what they did to gold. Like, we'll buy your gold from you, but it's because it's illegal, and then they revalued it extraordinarily higher after that, right? What was it? It went from 22 to 35, like overnight, something crazy like that. Saint says, I think everyone is slow stacking due to spot prices, right? Inflation on goods and percentage. Yeah, overall, I think you're right about that, Saint. Like, all the costs involved in everything have slowed a lot down. And that's why I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to hit my goal and had a little bit extra this last year that than I had originally planned, so that worked out well. But conditions and situations vary for sure. Didn't open. Still working on this piece tube. Really trying to find some 35s and 34s on the piece dollar in the wild. You randomly found quarters in the 90s, Mojave? Or is that Walter who said? Oh, Mojave. Finding quarters back in the 90s? Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Remember as I was a kid in the 80s, grandparents telling to look out for silver in the coinage, but was real thin and real hard. I mean, I remember finding some dimes over the years. Last time I found any in the wild around here, it's been almost 10 years ago. It was a dime. I haven't seen a quarter in the wild in decades. You know, it's like we found a really old was a 1911 penny at the 7-Eleven way back. Did a video on it. That was kind of unusual, just to find an old wheat penny like that even. But they're saying to stay on the lookout because people raiding grandpa's change drawer or whatever, change jar, thinking it's just regular change when it's silver. You could start finding that stuff a little more regular, especially as people start passing away, leaving it to people who don't know what they got, and they just go out and spend it as regular money. Like it goes in cycles, they say. We'll see. Walter's looked for dimes and never found one. Right? Everybody yeah, it's the funny thing, isn't it, Walter? Like people who are looking for them don't necessarily find them. People who don't know what they're looking for just all of a sudden find one. Like, oh, look what I found. Like, oh, great. Thanks for making me feel bad. Like, it's always searching the change whenever you go to the store or whatever. There's a 35 in rough shape though. Yeah, rough condition on that one. Is it a D? Looks like a D. Pretty rough. How much time we got on here? Okay, we're doing pretty good on time. I didn't just sitting here looking at coins and talking. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Found a silver quarter in an arcade with pinball machines from the 60s and 70s. Oh, it was still in the machine. That's pretty sweet. That would be a cool find. 20, that's a nice 26. Pretty cool. What were we watching the other day? I saw something similar to that, to where somebody had an old find and they what was it they found in really good condition inside? I can't remember what it was even about now, but I remember a similar story. I don't even know if it was coins or not, but it was something in really good condition that was old. That's a nice 26. Looks like is that a S? It's hard to tell. Anyway, yeah. So on the dollars, kind of just track, trying to get each mint in each year. There's like 300 and some Morgans if you get every mint every year. So that's like a huge undertaking when you consider I've got 79 and some of those are piece dollars. Like, to get every Morgan representation would just be a monumental task, especially when you look at the dollar values of some of the even more expensive ones. So always check the Coinstar machine, says the Saint, for rejects. Well, that's some pretty good advice, I guess. Never thought about that, but I guess people could bring it in and not know to look, check for the whatever could have come out the bottom end, right? So that was our inventory. We did our inventory this week, making the plan for the coming year. It's kind of what the video was going to be about. Thanks everybody for dropping in. I was going through my half dollars, and I've got, where is it at? Let's see. I had some Kennedy's loose, and I had a couple 65s. I'm like, how did a 65 get in there? I guess I got 40% one time, not thinking about it. I don't know. I got two 40%ers. I'm like, yeah, that kind of doesn't go with the stack. I'm like, I don't know what to do with those. But thought there was another. Yeah, but it's part of the deal. Silver nickel, Walter. That's a lot harder too. I mean, those silver nickels are, the war nickels from the 40s. Was it 43 to 45? Or the war nickels? I got a few of those. I got them at the coin shop. I didn't find them in the wild. That would be a pretty hard task, I think. But you would think, because I mean that's an even rarer. Like, people that know that those nickels are silver is even rarer than what you might see a dime or a quarter. People can kind of figure that out. You look at the reeded edge and all that other stuff. Like, okay, that's silver. But those nickels, they just lay low and they're hiding out. Um, since we got here, we got Wayne checking in. What's up? What's up, Wayne? Becoming dangerous. How cold is it out there, Wayne? I guess I should ask Walter how cold it is. He's further north. I didn't even ask. But I guess if you're on here, you're doing pretty good. And well, since we got everybody on here, I got to show my favorite Franklin half dollar is always the favorite, especially this year. This year is the big year, 250. See if Walter, you should have a lot of events going on near you. Maybe get some videos of some of the festivities back that way, if they don't mess them up. The Mint has talked about some of the, what is this, a 60? It's a 48. Pretty good shape. The Mint's talked about the things they're going to do for this, and what did we call this? It's not a sesquint. What's the 250 year celebration called? But they're releasing different coins, and they've talked about the surveys they're getting for that. And I have no faith that the Mint is going to do anything but mess that up. Nothing but mess it up, unfortunately. It would be cool to have some cool coins come out. Like, I mean, I remember when they did the survey of coins that they were proposing. Like, I don't think the Liberty Bell and Ben Franklin was mentioned once. Like, this coin right here, this coin alone represents more than 90% of the coinage that has come out when it comes to the founding of the country. But yet nobody's looking to redo it, I guess. That's why I like the Franklin so much. I think I talked about this years ago when I first latched on to them and started getting these instead of Kennedy's. Like, just the nature of the founding led me to them, and Franklin not being like a president, not a full politician. He was a partial politician. He did Pennsylvania politics, but not being a full-on, Federalist politician. Kind of different than a lot of the other coinage, which might be why they skipped over and they don't like people that aren't politicians. Oh yeah, the prices too, Saint. I haven't even paid attention to their prices. I just look at some of the stuff they propose, and I'm like, you people have lost your minds. What they want people to buy is just like, oh, it's pathetic. 33, says Walter. That's not even cold. I thought everybody was down to single digits. Goodness gracious. Saints and Sappers, what is up? Saints and Sappers checking in. How cold is Alabama? I think he's been complaining about the cold this week. A little cold down there in those parts for what they're used to. That does not want to focus right. My inability somehow works into that. Being single digits where you are, Wayne? Yeah. That's what I heard was coming. Told everybody to cut their wood. Make sure your wood stove's working. We talked about freezing pipes last week, like getting that stuff ready. Like, if you ain't ready by now, like, it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a rough go if you haven't got everything ready for the cold by now. So hopefully those that are in the impact zone have planned accordingly. So there's the $50. Walter said, oh, you're not getting single digits till Monday, Walter? Okay, I thought it was hitting a little bit this weekend. I didn't know it was that far out. So you got a few days left to enjoy the balmy weather. 33. Yeah, single digits. No joke. Don't mess around with that stuff. The cold will get you. Saint says it's cold everywhere. It's normal here. It's not. The daytime is a little high for January. What we need is we need some snow and rain because we've had a really dry January, and January is kind of where we hit the our big storm wave. Like some we should be getting storms like every week to 10 days, and we haven't gotten nothing this year. So that's kind of bad for our area to not be having storms coming through. Kind of like that LA dry spell, you know, why they had the fire issues. Same thing up here, like really dry, really dry. So hopefully, we said maybe next week will maybe a pattern change, but we'll see. We definitely need it. Everybody in California needs it too, I'm sure. So that's the Franklins. Walter says his horse line. The barn wasn't. Oh, you think they're not buried deep enough? You're sure they're going to freeze, Walter? Well, that's unfortunate. You think you'd hate to not get ahead of that, you know? Yeah, I hate to have a line freeze out to the barn. That'd be bad. Bad news, Walter. No bueno. And I just got one little thing of quarters here I got to fill up this year. Easy peasy, but something we're working on. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Welcome. We're kind of finishing it up. I went through all the Morgans and Peace Dollars earlier. That was the main part of the chat. Now we're just filling in. Yeah, quarter roll. I think there's a. Was there a Walk on Liberty mixed in here with this group? Maybe not. Mostly 64s, 63s, slick 45. You missed the hillside in the Jeep. Yeah, say it's kind of one of those things you just move on, right? Man, it's does not want to focus at all, does it? Yeah, no worries, Cindy. No worries. I was just kind of saying you missed the good coins because we're talking about the Morgans primarily. Talking about planning for your stacking, saving plan. What the saving plan is for the year with the, in particular with prices going up so much, makes it hard to make sure you have enough cash flow to meet goals. You know, so you want to have realistic goals, but you know, kind of just got to play it by ear a little bit, but set targets, set price targets per ounce, stuff like that, to try to meet your budgetary needs. But also talked a little bit about. Oh, here's a was that a 36? 36. It's pretty slick, but still 36. Let's think about some of this coinage. Just think about who actually carried this quarter. You know, maybe if I can I zoom in and get it to. That doesn't even work. It's probably my lousy camera. Lousy phone camera. Um, yeah. All right. Well, that's the quarters. Kind of one of the rule 1940. 40 quarter. Setting those goals, just having realistic targets. So you know what you're trying to spend for what amount. And if you can get it under, like that's your idea. That's my target, right? When I can see, you know, um, generics for 32 and under, like pick it up. When you can see, what I say, Eagles for under 35, it's kind of my target. You know, I don't know if those prices are going to hold out all year. So it's kind of like I'll have to reevaluate and just go with the flows we're going through and be like, well, I know I've already overspent in this area at this time, and we're going to really buckle down if we're going to meet the targets, or just wait to live to fight another day. And we will definitely have to see how gold plays out with its involvement, how the gold plays into it. See if we can get a half ounce or something. You know, who can afford a full ounce these days? You guarantee it'll freeze, Walter? Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, Walter, we still got the pigs. We still got all the things going on in that realm. Whose message got held here? Silver porn. they they got you, Saint. Okay, somebody else. Okay, it looks like we're clear. Yeah, silver porn, right? Right. Yeah, Saint. It feels like that sometimes, especially early on with the Morgan. When you got silver dollars, when you get a good silver dollar in good condition, just like wow, people were walking around with this for money. And I know we've talked about this. I don't know how many times, but for anybody that's not heard me just rant about it, just like the bankers literally took real money from us and like to hoard it themselves because their love of money and their lust for money is so great and their evil is so great that they leave us with debt, and we fell for it. Looks like people are falling for the rope a dope again, where you're not even going to get, this representation of money. You're going to get this digital thing that doesn't represent anything of anyhow. And that's what the bankers are going to give to you now, and you'll like it. It's like their evil has no ends. We'll see how that plays out though. But yeah, it's always good to look at some good silver. Hey, what's up, Nickel? You missed the show. Showed a bunch of the Morgans earlier. Nickel just talking about planning for the year to stack it deep and high with the prices we're dealing with. But Saint says small amounts of constitutional sell for face. Don't bring in a bag full, they'll weigh it. All right. Oh, the LCS will buy it back for face, or are you talking about just in between people? Like that makes sense. I mean, I think the LCS here was $22.50 for per dollar face value, which is pretty good overall, considering where the price has been. I mean, I think it got down to like 21 something when the prices were down there at like 28. But we'll see. Hey, Adventure Sky, the galaxy is checked in. Hello, everyone. Trump meme coin is launched. Trump meme coin to the moon. What's up with that, Ag Guide? Like, Trump's meme coin is like 3 billion in valuation, like for no reason other than it's Trump. The most whacked out idea in the world. To the moon, right, Cindy? Yeah. You got some gold, Saint, right? Yeah, I think part of my goal for this year is just to minimize the weight. Like I said earlier on, like I'm going to still be getting silver, but I need some gold just to offset the weight and storage challenges because you can only have so many people carry a box of silver out before it gets really burdensome. And the LA fire is kind of being a prime example. Like, you know, Walter says, true, but people seen how Bitcoin took off, so they will expect the same results and accept digital currency. Right, Walter? It's all conditioning, right? It's a conditioning mechanism to get people to just accept that, you'll have no money and you'll like it. you know, and people don't understand the negative aspects. And like the big one is, and who I just saw something on this today. I wish I could give proper credit. I mean, people have talked about this before, but I saw it again today, and I can't remember who did it. If it was a short or if it was a video, but it was basically the big catch in crypto. I mean, there's many catches in crypto, right, about control, but the other one is when they give you a coin, you have a certain time to spend it before it expires, and you can only spend it on certain things. Like it's like it becomes like an EBT card in certain ways but it can be even more limited and even more tracked, where you can only spend it on mortgage or gas or, whatever they want you to spend it on. You can't spend it on your own needs or, your own wants. That's the big catch, the big, yeah, like coupons, nickel, or like also like they call it in the more broad picture, like being at the ship's store, or at the what's it called, the corporate store, the company store, like you had at mines and stuff. The company store sold everything. That's the only place you could exchange your wages for whatever you needed. Company store made all the profits. Same type of deal, just on a bigger scale. They've been working on this for a long time. Long time. Yep, just shopping in the company store. You know. So I guess we'll leave it at that. YouTube. Just the cheap 64 Kennedys left. But thanks for everybody dropping in. Just a little bit on what we're planning for to increase the stack this year, and hopefully fight back some higher prices if we have to deal with them. But I hope everybody's doing good. Have a good weekend. Watch out for Monday. It could get squirrely, right? Who has that question? What did you ask, Nickel? If Trump would have a headache? But hope everybody has a good one. Thanks for checking in. Stack hard, prep hard, pray hard, all the things. Live free.